Welcome to this video where I'm going to be showing you how to make this little golf ball in Blender. We're going to be doing this procedurally in geometry nodes. It's super simple, but I found it kind of fun, so I thought I'd make a little video on it. So I'm just going to jump straight into geometry nodes here, and the first thing that we need to figure out is actually what type of mesh to actually use for our sphere, because using a UV sphere is not going to work, and the reason for that is we want evenly distributed points across this sphere, because the points are actually going to become the dimples of the golf ball. So if we have poles here at the top and the bottom where all these vertices sort of meet at one and we get a lot of rectangular distortion, and we can't use this mesh. So at first I thought maybe using a cube subdivided would give the best result, but we also still get poles where the vertices sort of line up there, so we can't use this one either. The best mesh to use is the icosphere, which is a little bit annoying because I don't really like to use triangular meshes, especially when I'm going to be subdividing them, but it's the only way to get evenly distributed points on the mesh. So I'm going to increase the level of subdivisions to 4, and now each single one of these points is going to become a dimple. So I'm going to first of all add a group to this, and then take this icosphere, convert it to points, and this already kind of looks a little bit like a golf ball, but essentially what we want to do now is take this and intersect this with our original mesh. So I'm going to take our original mesh and subdivide it to give it a bit more geometry to work with. We want as close to like perfectly smooth as possible. This seems to be enough. And then I'm going to actually, first of all, let's do a geometry proximity on these points that we just made. And if I view that according to this, we need to set this to points. You can see we immediately get these sort of natural hexagon shapes that you see on golf balls, and that this is just taking the distance from every surface point to the nearest point that it's closest to. So now all we need to do is basically offset our normals of this mesh to move in and out based on this map. So I'm going to use a set position on the subdivided mesh, and now if I grab the normal information, plug that into the offset, immediately we blow the mesh up. And that's fine. Let me just connect that there. But basically we want to just scale this using a vector math node to move in and out based on this new distance map. So I'll plug that straight in. This result isn't quite what we want though, because the edges are too sharp. So in order to fix this, I'm going to do a little bit of math on the distance output here. So essentially I just want to use a clamp node to sort of get to the point where we go up to here maybe, and then this whole area becomes flat. So after a certain height, the area will become flat. So if I set this to something really small and give it another subdivision, maybe this is too much or too little. You can see as I sort of play with this value, we're basically controlling the flat area here. So I think maybe somewhere around 0.6. There's a little bit of inconsistency across this because of the method we're using for this. It's based on distance to points, and the points aren't always evenly distributed because of this subdivision, but I don't really think it's that noticeable, and it's certainly not too bad. So in order to smooth this out a little bit, I'm going to set this to ease, and I'm going to play with the values a little bit here to sort of control the profile of that. And that looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to set shade smooth on this, and I am going to give it a material. I'll just give it the default material, and if I go over into the layout tab again and into the shader editor, let's take a look at this in material preview mode. I mean, we don't really need to do anything to this apart from just decrease the roughness, and if we potentially want to map a texture onto this, like some sort of logo, we could always go ahead and do that. I'm going to UV map this just by projecting it from front view, so I'll just project from view bounds there, and if I go into the UV editor now, you can see we just have this circle with no distortion, so we can easily map a logo on. I've downloaded just a couple of like random golf images, so let's see which one works best. I'll scale the UV map until we remove that distortion, and to have it not repeat, I'm going to change this from repeat to extend, and that will just basically take this white value and extend it infinitely up. And I'll line this up roughly right. Obviously we're going to get distortion where the dimples are, but I think that's fine. If we want to decrease the strength of the dimples, because they're quite intense at the minute, we can go back into geometry nodes, and after our color ramp, I'm just going to add a math node set to multiply. And now this value becomes the sort of strength. I'll set it to somewhere like 0.3, I think. And that looks much better in the viewport. But yeah, that's pretty much it. One thing is actually the UV map, because we projected it from the front, it goes through the entire mesh, so I'll just grab this side of the mesh and just pull it down in the UV editor so it's on a white part of the image. But yeah, that was it. Really quick tutorial, but a few different techniques in geometry nodes, so yeah, hope that was useful to you.